Welcome back to another episode of Wisdom Wednesday, brought to you by Ascension Mountain. I'm Jen, your host, and I'm so excited to continue this climb on the path to higher consciousness. Thank you for joining me today. The conversation for today is going to be about unconditional love and how it is the foundation for empowered relationships. And I'm teaching from this perspective of currently what I'm going through. And I feel like it's the most powerful way to teach is when we share from experience and wisdom. And I'm going to share a little bit about my personal experience and how choosing relationships that are rooted from unconditional love has transformed my life, and how free it makes me, how supported I feel by having right relationships, and how independent and empowering it can be in your life. So stay tuned, and we'll get into a couple ways to notice when relationships are not rooted in unconditional love. So first, I want to grasp an understanding of what conditional giving looks and feels like, and how to recognize it. So if you can think of a time when a friend there's two different ways that we can go about this. It's like when a friend gives you something and they are like, well, here's this if you do this for me later. And sometimes it is spoken in that way, but there's other times when it's not necessarily spoken or communicated, but it can be felt. So, for example, it's the feeling for me when it can be felt is it feels like my energetic field has like almost like fish hooks in it. So it's like someone has like taken their fish reel and like attached it to my energy, and it's like they're like, I have you now. And so it's like when you're being given these gifts, and not necessarily gifts all the time, but favors and other things like that, there has this energetic attachment feeling to it. And that's just something to be aware of, because you might want to ask yourself the question, is this the price that I'm willing to pay for this experience? And another way to look at it is if you have a scorecard, and it's almost like someone has a list of things of like, this is what I've done for you, and they just keep like keep the tally up, and they're almost like, well, I'm not going to do anything nice for you until you complete your tally. And it kind of is this like exchange. And so that's not the way that we want to live life. We want to give unconditionally, because when we give unconditionally, we open the hearts, and we're operating from the heart. And when you're operating from the heart, it's the universal law. So that love will come back. But we give without expectation. We give unconditionally. Just as true love is unconditional, we have to give to others unconditionally. And you know that this energy will be returned to you. And it might not be from this person, but it could be in other ways. And we don't always have to know what ways that this energy is going to be returned to us, because it just happens. And we have to be okay with allowing us to give and not knowing when or what we are going to receive later. And so this is also a good time to reflect on your own relating and how you relate with people too, because there are times when you might do something for someone else and be like, well, I hope that later on they do this for me. And that's something that we might have to shift in our own selves. But I also want to talk about the nature of unconditional love and what that looks and feels like. And it might be kind of a rare experience, because I know when I have recently started to kind of find my empowered relationships in, I guess, my soul tribe, it felt a little weird. Like it was like when people would give me things or say nice things, it was like almost kind of hard for me to receive because it was like not used to being like when someone would say something nice to me and being like, okay, what do you want? And that is so not right. That is so against nature. And we have to change the way that we relate to others. Unconditional love also fosters genuine relating and connection, and it inhibits personal growth. I remember in college, we were in this class and they had us go into a debate whether giving to others was either selfless or selfish. And the reason it was selfish was because it makes you feel good when you give. And it's like, when you give someone a present, you're like, oh, like you see their like heart glow up and it like makes you happy. So people were like, well, are you like giving because, you want to feel good too? And I thought it was funny because I remember we had to kind of choose sides and I was kind of in the middle and I was like, well, it kind of depends. And everyone was like, well, what do you mean it depends? And I was like, well, if you're giving without, or if you're giving with expectation, then I don't really think that it's a true gift. And at the time, I didn't use the word unconditional love because that wasn't really my language at the time. But now, looking at it in retrospect, that's all where this comes from is unconditional love and giving with unconditional love. You give without expectation, and it can definitely be felt in the gifts that you receive, the favors you receive from others. So let's talk about some big signs of conditional relationships. One of the biggest ones for me is how does this person react when you succeed? This one has been big for me because even though people will say, "Oh, congratulations," you can like feel it inside. They're like, "No." They really don't actually want you to succeed, and they might not want you to know, um, but it can just be felt. Or also just kind of ignoring your successes. People will do that too. Um, and it just really does not feel good when you have friends who don't actually want to see you succeed and don't support you. And you might want to question these relationships in your life or how much energy you're putting into it. Because there are going to be people in our lives that are kind of just there, and we're just going to have to, they're just going to have to stay right there because I want to feel empowered in my relationships. And that's who I'm going to stay close to, and that's who I'm going to share my life with very closely. Another important thing to do is to only share your goals, your dreams, and your aspirations with people who truly support you and want you to succeed. Because if these people don't actually want you to succeed, then it's going to be like an energy leakage. Also, with people that have a lot of fear, sharing with people who have a lot of fear, it can cause them to have their fear activated and kind of put on you when you're trying to do these certain dreams and goals. And so then all these like fears that aren't even your own are kind of being projected on you. So these like fears and people not wanting you to succeed, like it can really bring down your power and encouragement when you are approaching and attacking your dreams. So I really encourage you to find those people in your life that you can truly share with and who empower you. Another sign is when people will try to make you feel small and powerless and like you're not capable of doing things. And this is totally wrong because you totally can do anything you want to do and you don't need anyone. And I'm not saying that we don't need help and that it's nice to have people help us with things, because we do need each other. At the end of the day, we are all a community of people, but um, there it only goes so far to when people make you feel like you need them, like you are powerless without them, and that you can't do it on your own. Because a true leader and a true friend who is empowering you will inspire you to do it yourself because you have the power within you to do anything you want to do, to learn anything you want to do. We have so many resources. Like, do you know how many things I've learned how to do on like YouTube? Or just through asking people and approaching things with this beginner mindset because we have to learn and to grow. And so never feel powerless and never let anyone make you feel like you can't do something because you can. If you can't right now, you can learn it or you can find someone to also help you, but only accept that help if it is unconditionally given to you. Unless you are willing to pay that price of that energy drainage, that fish hook in your energetic field. So pay attention. And it all comes down to energetic awareness. It comes down to knowing ourselves so well that we know how people are affecting our lives. And the number one question to ask ourselves, does this person drain me after we spend time, or does this person empower me? And do I feel good after hanging out with this person? That is our number one sign right there, and to pay attention. And a great thing to do, even right now, is if you have a circle of friends, of people in your life, you can just kind of write down their names and then just kind of write down their traits and their characteristics and write down, how do these people make me feel? Do I feel empowered? Do I feel supported? Do I feel loved? And then if you don't, maybe we look at how much time we spend with these people. And we don't have to call other people out necessarily or completely cut people out of our lives, but maybe just slowly, if you really want to grow and develop in life, we can't let other people take our energy. We have to protect our energy. And it's so important in who we relate to and who we spend time with, because everything you do matters. Every action that you do supports your energy and or it depletes your energy. And so notice how you're spending your time with these people. So I can understand that also detaching from draining relationships can be very difficult, especially if these people have been around for a long time or they're very close to you. Maybe they're in your family. Whatever it is challenging. But I just encourage you to do your energy check-ins daily. You gotta check in the morning, in the evening. How do these people make you feel throughout the day? And how can you support your energy? How can you set your boundaries to protect yourself and not let yourself get the fish hook on you? And another way that we can also work on this is sometimes when we have challenging people in our lives, that means that that person or that relationship in your life needs the most love. So when we sit down to meditate and pray and send energy, that's going to be something you're going to want to do, is send love to that situation and to that person, because it's oftentimes the people who challenge us the most need the most love, and we have to meet them with love. And Speaking of energy alignment and love, um, I do host a meditation every Sunday, Soul Alignment Sunday, where we gather together. It's a sacred circle, and we do this kind of work. We do this energy clearing, massive energy clearing, and then we clear ourselves. Yeah, we clear ourselves from the week, and then we move forward. We project forward into the week ahead, and we also leave space after and during the meditation to write some things down. And writing things down is really important because we can actually reflect on our lives and begin to move forward in our lives and start to shift our energy and make changes that are in alignment, divine alignment, and with our highest path. So, if you're interested in that, I do the Soul Alignment Sundays live on YouTube. So, feel free to check that out if you want to join the circle. It'd be great to have you there. So, as we close out this conversation today, I do invite you to do that journaling prompt that I mentioned earlier, which is have all of your relationships, your close ones, kind of listed out on a page and just start to get your feeling on them. Like, do these people support me or do I feel drained? Or is this kind of a neutral relationship? Whatever it is, just write down how you're feeling about it. And if you want to know how to improve these situations, again, you can ask your higher self, you can ask spirit in your journaling, in your meditation sessions, and you'll always find the answer within of how can I move forward and enhance this relationship, and how do I attract more empowered relationships in my life. And you'll know what to do. You'll know when the time is right to move on from relationships because our lives are fluid. Even though we've been friends with people for however many years or, family members, whatever it is, like we are meant to experience life and have seasons of life. Like every relationship has a reason and a season in your life. So that's something to recognize as well, that there's a season and a reason for every person in your life. Because people don't come into our lives on accident. Everything is divinely interwebbed. I also want to remind you that when you close a door, another one opens. And so it can feel lonely at times when we feel like we don't have that tribe of people around us. And I totally get that because there are a lot of times that I also feel lonely and feel like I don't have that tribe of empowered people. But I will say that when you do start to close these relationships and really focus on what supports you, what truly supports you, you open yourself up to those supportive relationships. So even though it feels lonely out there, I'm with you. And it does get better. The more that we give unconditionally, we will in return receive that love. And so reflect on how you give and how it feels to give unconditionally and how it feels to love others. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships here. This is relating to all of our relationships. And I want to leave you with these words that you must spread your love. And love always begins from within at first. And the more that we love ourselves and love all of those around us, you can actually enhance the relationships in your life. And it all starts from within. Because when you are radiating with so much love, you are just going to attract more love, and you will actually change the frequency of other people just by your presence of being filled with so much love that it starts to heal others. And so really the message here is start with yourself, love yourself, and spread as much love as you can. And do not settle for anything less than love, because you deserve love. You are the essence of love. So be love, spread love, and do not accept anything but love. Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. I'm so grateful to be able to share my experiences and hopefully inspire and uplift others through my experience. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you next Wednesday. Happy Wisdom Wednesday.